to the duck pyramid where I rate my pet ducks based on their behavior the last week. At the bottom of our pyramid this week, we have Raven. It may come as a shock to see Raven at the very bottom of the pyramid, and it's honestly a shock to me too because I really just don't expect this behavior from her. But lately, when it's time for bed, she is the one encouraging all of the ducks to not go to bed on time. And I would expect that kind of behavior from Donut or Sugar, but not you, Raven. You know better. And up next, we have Chip. Now, Chip landed himself here yet again because I warned him on the last episode that he should not be bringing his bedding over to the other side of his enclosure, and he continued to do it all week, so unfortunately, he's down here again. And next, we have Mr. Whip, and all I can really say about this one is that he had one job and he did not do it. More on that later. And unsurprisingly, we have Donut. Donut is up to her usual mischief, but particularly this past week, I worked really hard to get all of the ice blocks out of the duck pools so that the ducks would be able to swim, and she was still so ungrateful that she chose to just swim in the water bucket instead. And leveling up, we have Maple. Now, I do understand it is starting to feel a little bit like spring outside, but can we hold off just a little bit on mating season, maybe? Because I'm not liking what I'm seeing between Maple and Sugar, and I don't want to see a repeat of last year. So maybe, Maple, you can, stick to ducks your own size, or, your wife? Maybe? And up next, we have Bubbles. Bubbles is doing a great job at doing what Bubbles does best, which is being the medium duck who never does anything right or wrong. Although I do have to say she has been involved in a significant number of fights this past week, but who really knows who started it, so I can't exactly put her anywhere for that. Up next, we have Avocado Toast. Now, I have previously spoken about how I was really proud of Avocado Toast for staying in the pen when all the other ducks just ran right out because she noticed something that was a little scary for her, and I was proud of her for listening to her instincts. Now, I think she might have taken that the wrong way because she started staying behind in the pen almost every night now when I try to get her to bed, and there's nothing to be afraid of out there at this point, so I'm kind of maybe she took what I said a little too seriously and is just trying to get bonus points on the pyramid for staying there, but girl, you gotta go to bed with everybody else. I don't need to pick you up every time. And leveling up, we have Hash Brown Montana. So I was really unsure about where to place Hash Brown Montana on this pyramid because I didn't know if I wanted to encourage this or condemn it. But the truth is, this was honestly mostly my fault. So we knew that we were getting a super cold front coming. So I knew that I wanted to make sure the ducks got out for the full amount of time possible while the sun was out so that they could go outside and play and enjoy themselves before the cold front came. So one morning, I let the ducks out. Hash Brown Montana hops into the water bowl because I had just filled it with water, and then she hops out and walks up the stairs to go into the duck pools, which are frozen. Unfortunately, she never made it to the duck pools because her wet feathers froze onto the cinder block. Now, lucky for her, her feet or anything else wasn't frozen. It was just some of her feathers that had kind of stuck because they were wet. I was right there to prevent any kind of injury or anything, and I was able to call someone to bring us some hot water and, of course, free her. Crazy thing about this to me is that the ducks go out in much colder weather than that, and they're completely fine, and I've never had anything like that happen before, but I guess the weather conditions must have just been just right, and it must have been super cold overnight or something that made the cinder blocks colder than usual, but that is a mistake that we have learned from and hopefully will never repeat again. But I did put Hash Brown Montana up here because I'm proud of her for the way she reacted. Obviously, of course, at first when she realized she was stuck, she started freaking out, but I was able to, hold her and make sure she didn't pull her feathers out, and she quickly calmed down, and I'm really proud of her for that. And up next, we have Munchkin. So I actually haven't posted the video of this yet, so I don't want to spoil it, but Munchkin recently went back to try a restaurant that she previously didn't like before, and I'm really just proud of her for giving it a second chance, and it may have turned out kind of well, and then we went on a hike afterwards, and she got to meet so many people, and she was so friendly, and I'm just so proud of her. And of course, Valentine's Day is coming up, so Munchkin has been filming a bunch of cameos for all the lucky ducks out there, and she has been having such a blast with that, and I'm really grateful that she's been just enjoying doing that. Also, Munchkin has just been a super great asset as far as everything else I've filmed this past week. We are finally getting into better weather, which means I can take her out and about more, and she is absolutely loving it. It's like we never skipped a beat and stopped going out in the winter. And at the top of our pyramid this week, to everyone's surprise, is Sugar. I've got to be honest with you, I never thought I would see Sugar there, but she truly deserves it this week. As I mentioned earlier, Mr. Whip had one job and he didn't do it. So I was actually doing a collaboration with my friend Rambo the Puppy. They have a super cute series on their channel where their dog and cat act as newscasters, and they invited one of the ducks on to talk about egg prices. And I figured that Mr. Whip would be perfect for the job because he has a beautiful quack, and he also quacks very often, and I don't really have to ask him to quack, he kind of just does it. So I brought him inside, gave him a little cup of coffee and a microphone, and figured he would do a great job. Well, he didn't. But since I was bringing Mr. Whip inside, I figured I would also bring Sugar in just because they're kind of buddies and I don't like to take him out alone. So Mr. Whip didn't quack. You know who did? Sugar. Sugar quacked, and she had a lot to say about those egg prices, and she did a quacktastic job. And not only did she do a great job on the collab, then I wanted to film a duck pun video, and again, Mr. Whip was like, I'm not doing this. Sugar, I put a piece of bread over her head, and she was just like, okay, this is fine. That's like, I could never expect that from Sugar. She never acts like that. I'm not sure what's up with her, but she was just a perfect little angel. Like, it was almost as if she was channeling her inner Munchkin. And to top it all off, Sugar has been leading everybody into bed at night. While Raven is trying to get everybody to run around to the other side of the pen, Sugar is like, come on guys, it's time for bed, let's go. And she quacks at them and gets them to go to bed. I really don't know what to say other than thank you so much, Sugar. I hope you keep this up. I know people love you for your angry little sassy personality, but I would love you if you were just a pleasure to have all the time. So please keep it up and have a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much for watching the Duck Pyramid this week. If you liked our video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have a special someone you want a personalized message from a duck for this Valentine's Day, be sure to book Munchkin on Cameo.